The San Diego Prep Insiders Basketball Podcast is powered by Jersey Mike's. Jersey Mike's, a sub above.
Aaron.
Let go of me, man.
Open division! Semifinals. I'm sorry, I just had to provide a little bit of energy and intensity to start our week off because, bro, can I be real with you?
No, ever.
Can I be real with you, bro?
You can never do that again.
These are the games that we've been waiting for.
They are.
One side of the bracket is private schools. One side of the bracket is public schools. There could be a Battle of the Bay rematch.
That's fine.
Dude, this is kick ass.
This is pretty
So
awesome.
look, one of these four teams up here, Foothills Christian, Mater Dei Catholic, Mission Bay, and Torrey Pines, will be crowned the absolute champion of high school basketball here in San Diego. There is no doubting that one of these four will be named the best. There is extreme, entire question mark, gray area doubting about who it will be, though. So let's get this one started on the Foothills versus Mater Dei side, or I'm sorry, Foothills Christian versus Mater Dei Catholic. I'll say the full names. I apologize.
That's all right. There.
Is this back to the finals for Foothill, or is this Trey Anderson and Beon Riley finally busting down that door and saying, put some respect on the name?
I'm going with Foothills in this one. I'm going to go with them in a war. I mean, this is a game.
Doth I say a holy war?
No, we can't say that.
That's trademarked.
That's trademarked for the other game. Yeah.
A crusade, perhaps.
Yeah. This is going to be a very, very physical. I think it will be high scoring. I think that we're going to see Tayshawn Cherry and one of his childhood best friends, Trey Anderson, put up big numbers. But when push comes to shove, I think that Foothills Christian has an advantage in the backcourt because, they've got two or three guys who can get it done. Whereas, Beon Riley is kind of the, he's the big focal point in the backcourt. Now, there is an avenue for Mater Dei Catholic to get a win, and I think it's if Josh Toffiau and Reggie Jackson can cancel out Yassine Garam and Jaron Affaret. I think that, there's a window there, but it's a very narrow window. But when push comes to shove, that front court pair of Tayshawn Cherry and Derek Carter-Hollinger, that's going to be really tough for Mater Dei to overcome. Granted, Mater Dei Catholic has some size with Trey Anderson, and they've got Beon is 6'5". They've got Melo Sanchez, who's a freshman. He was really impressive in the game versus San Marcos. Melo Sanchez played every minute of the game, and he carved San Marcos apart with his IQ. But I just like that front court duo to get it done, and that backcourt trio really to get the job done. So I'm going with Foothills Christian.
Tommy Morris sends in his picks saying Foothills Christian emphatically. To me, this is going to be like the ending of Rocky Balboa, where both of them were just throwing punches, and then even though Rocky loses the fight, he walks away going, yeah, you know what's up. Either one of these teams, everyone's going to make it to state. Mm-hmm. Everyone gets to move on to that next level, so there is a little bit of a sense of this is it, but this isn't it at the same time. So I think Foothills Christian wins, but I think that Mater Dei walks away going, we're okay with that. And not that anybody or everybody is okay with losing, but you walk away from this going, we still are going to make some noise at the next level because
they're going to be in the D1 playoffs for state, and I think they've got a good chance to win some games there.
Exactly. So this is one of those where they send a message to the rest of the state that, okay, we're going to take a close loss to one of the best in San Diego, one of the best in the state, and we're coming with a chip on our shoulder now, loaded for bear on the state playoffs. You mentioned so many players for Foothills Christian that can get it done, with Tayshawn obviously being defending CIF Player of the Year, but then two or three of the, let's call them breakouts of the year, because DJ Carter-Hollinger was a little bit buried on the depth chart last year for them, not quite the featured piece. Yassine was over at Point Loma. Jaron, for whatever reason, has not gotten the mountain of credit that he deserves for the amount of quality basketball that he has played at Foothills Christian. So you're looking at that, and then there are still other players on that team.
Dorian Blue,
and
Jolly O'Keefe.
Exactly.
Darian Carter-Hollinger.
Yeah, you get to the point where you're like, wow, that is just an insurmountable odds of a team that is just too deep to stop. So I will agree with you. Foothills takes that one. On the other side of the bracket, Mission Bay, a historic season for them, winning their first league championship in 3 decades. Torrey Pines doing nothing historic or new for them and just continuing to steamroll San Diego County into a nice, smooth parking lot. Who wins this one? Or are you going to take the 5th?
No, I'm not going to plead the 5th, but I would like a little bit of credit. You guys gave me such a hard time when I gave my Mission Bay pick last week because I said the Mission Bay was going to win, but did I not say that it was going to be like down to a single point?
We can run the tape back. You probably said something prophetic like that. You are pretty good at picking.
Mission Bay won by 1 point, 45-44, in a knockdown, drag-out war of a defensive battle against Vista. That was the game. That's the signature game of our playoffs thus far. Kudos to both teams. So now Mission Hills, as their Mission Bay as their prize, gets to go into the Olive Garden, the place where no one usually comes out alive in the playoffs. But I am picking them to be the first team that does it. I'm going with Mission Bay. Here's why. Mission Bay had an opportunity to, figure out the sight lines, the angles of this gym by playing in the national division of the Under Armour Holiday Classic. And they did quite well. 3rd place in the national division. That means they were the 3rd best team in the best bracket at the Torrey Pines Holiday Classic.
And this is at the start of the season that we're talking about, so they've just gotten better since
then.
Yeah,
and getting it done in that gym gives them an opportunity to just get a feel for that gym. This will not be foreign to them when they go into Torrey Pines. They're gonna have some defensive questions they need to answer. First off, who saw Michael Pope, not Bryce, but Michael Pope going for 30 in an absolute dismantling of La Jolla Country Day? First of all, who saw that coming? A 30-point beatdown.
Probably John Olive.
Maybe John Olive. I don't think he saw that coming. I think he saw they were going to win, like we all did, but we thought it was going to be competitive, and it wasn't. And Finn Sullivan being Finn Sullivan, who is the most under-recruited player in San Diego County at this point. I think he has one committable offer right now, and, I can't really speak on who it is because they've, requested that remain anonymous.
What, Arizona hasn't approved the wiretap yet, or the wire transfer yet?
Wow, nothing of that sort. But Finn Sullivan is a player that if you are a Division I school looking for a point guard, you should have, been on him earlier in the year. But with all that said, I think Boogie Ellis, Jay Norton, and Ronnie Ladding get the job done in the most hostile of road environments. And
that's saying something considering that Carlsbad is also a team that is playing a home game in these playoffs.
Yeah, exactly. Game decided by 3 or 4 points. Mission Bay wins.
Tommy Morris says Torrey Pines that the Cardinal Chaos provide that X factor, that it's the home game, that it's something that you mention. The Under Armour Holiday Classic, that is a quiet gym that you play in for those games. That is something where a couple of fans here and there will show up to provide some noise, but it's not not directed noise.
Roll the footage of the Mission Bay games that they played. The crowd was packed.
No, the crowd was there, but it was packed in a different sense than this week's game will be. This game will be packed very specifically with Torrey Pines students who are organized and who are angry. The other gyms were packed with just fans of the game that were there to observe, to cheer, to whatever. It was winter break. It was a little bit of this, that.
I think Mission Bay will bring their entire student body to this game and try to at least level that off. I think they'll do a good job of getting the word out in social media.
I would love to see.
They'll hear Tommy Morris's prediction and likely your prediction, and Marshawn Cherry will.
What do you mean likely my position? You say that I'm going to pick Torrey?
Pretty much.
All right. Well, that's wrong because I'm picking Mission Bay.
Hey!
Look, I think that we've been saying all season long that this is the Mission Bay of next year and that they're kind of playing with house money the way that Saints was this year, but they didn't fold in that first round of the playoffs. So I'll agree with you that it's one of those sub 5 point they need it to be a low-scoring game. I'll say that. If it's a low-scoring game, Mission Bay wins. If it's a high-scoring game, Torrey Pines wins. And I know that that's somewhat of a cop-out to sort of play both sides of the fences, but there are, this game, I don't see there being two versions of this game. This game, I see there being two very distinct versions of this game. Yeah. If Torrey can start dropping buckets, I just don't think Mission Bay can keep pace with them for 4 quarters worth of one of the Popes dropping 30, Finn Sullivan in double digits, and you just start to go, all right, they're going to pull away. But if they can keep it low scoring the same way they did with a Vista game, then you sort of go, wow, they can take down D1 talent. They can take down whoever, wherever, whenever, whyever, because they are a good team who can control their own destiny to a certain degree. So I'll give it over or under of 60 points. If it's under 60 points, Mission Bay gets the win. If it's over 60 points, Torrey Pines runs away with it, the same way we saw them against Country Day. Okay. So those are our picks. Whether you like them or not, those are what we're going with. I think we're probably going to revise that after we watch the games and go, no, I picked the other team. So look, these games are going down on Wednesday. Yeah. Then the finals are happening on Friday. Yep. At the big boy arenas of San Diego County. And then maybe a consolation game where the other two teams are just going to meet up at a YMCA somewhere and duke it out for the actual Open Division championship.
And actually, going back to consolation, there are a couple of consolation games that will be played, I believe, on Thursday. Okay. Country Day versus Vista and San Marcos versus St. Augustine.
Trying to figure out all that state seeding now. We don't need to dive into that. We're just diving into this championship bracket. Let us know how you feel at Mr. CPED, at Full-Time Hoops 1. Tommy Morris is at Real Tommy Morris. Thank you very much for sticking with us. We will see you in the finals.